So I think I can truly say that I apply the learnings that from the course in every single client. And I can personally talk about how the difference it's made with Poppy, whereas I was always so reluctant to have her off a lead. But because I now trust her, she trusts me, that is what the bond should be. It's about the trust between the dog and the owner. And I just feel then that I offer a better service and support to my clients because I have that skill set. Thinking about it, it's definitely worth the investment because it is a very intense, in-depth course. You get to learn an awful lot about, more than you might expect. You great connection of people. Support during the course on the Facebook group was really great. So there's so many examples that I now apply the learning, not necessarily to what I might have expected for it to be applying to, but because it affects every dog and applies to every dog, I can then apply that to everything. And it means that I have lots of fun ways of getting engagement from the dog and the owners, because them trying to throw a treat through a lasso and throwing it is much more fun for them as well as the dog.
I'm really excited about today's conversation because I have got Sarah Hawkins with me. Sarah is a professional dog trainer from Reading, Berkshire in the UK, and she took the Predation Substitute Training Instructor Course about 2 years ago. Now, for those of you who are new here, the PST Instructor Course happens once a year over the course of 10 weeks, and we deep dive into everything around predatory behavior in dogs, why it happens, how it shows up in daily life, and most importantly, how we can work without force and in a positive way. It's an intensive journey designed for dog professionals who want to take their skills in the field of predatory behavior to the next level. And at the end, when you've completed the course, you don't just walk away with new tools and insights, you graduate as a certified PST instructor. Sarah is a wonderful example of this. She runs Berkshire Dog Training, and what I love about her story is that she brings over 20 years of experience, starting with her very first dog, Archie, a Rhodesian Ridgeback, who had a very tough past, and then her American Bulldog, Davy, and now her two dogs, Poppy and Manu. And these two were the driving force to learn more about dogs who love to chase. Sarah is all about positive and force-free training. She is very committed to building trust and connection between dogs and their people. And she's also really well qualified. She's not only a certified PST instructor, but also part of several professional organizations such as the IMDT and the Pet Professional Network. She has done a ton of specialist training from puppy foundations to dogs with big emotions who need support with day-to-day life. So she's definitely someone with a lot to share, and I can't wait to talk with her today about how the PST instructor course has shaped her work and what it's brought to her life as a dog trainer. Hi, Sarah. Thank you very much for being here and doing this interview with me.
You're very welcome. It's truly an honour to be able to share the experience that I absolutely loved a couple of years ago and how I've benefited from it.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you. So you did the PST instructor course 2 years ago. Can you explain us a little bit what the situation was when you decided to sign up for the instructor course?
Yeah, certainly. So I had just launched my business a couple of years beforehand, and I was offering quite traditional style training in classes, life skills. And I had my current two dogs, Poppy and Manu, and they had a lot of challenges, and but they have a lot of terrier in them, and I've never had terriers before. And I found that I was starting to struggle with my own walks. So I was talking to my network within the dog training community, and your name came up. And so I started to read your books. The Hunting Together was my first one. Really lovely style of how you wrote those books, made me learn a lot about how I could help Poppy in particular with her desire to chase, and how to help her engage and connect with me. And because of that, it then started that journey. And yeah, it's been nearly 3 years now that I've absorbed as much information about you and what you do as possible.
Cool. Was there a specific moment or, yeah, experience with Poppy or with Manu that triggered your decision?
Yeah, I think it was, you know, every time we went to anywhere, there was a squirrel. It just became, you know, embarrassing because of how she used to scream, you know, how I would feel physically uncomfortable because of that, you know, ability of being pulled and, you know, having, I always have her on a fixed line, but, you know, that lunging experience was really hard. And I could see, you know, some of the clients that I was working with also struggling with that focus. And I just felt that I needed to do better for her, my dog Poppy, and how could I help then other clients knowing more. And you know, yes, I'm qualified in various areas, but I like to have that breadth of knowledge because I think that gives me many tools to help clients, because every client and every dog is individual.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And often, what I have made the experience during my own doctor trainer education is that you learn a little bit of everything. So it's the same about predation, but it does not really equip you for these high prey drive dogs when they come to your training. Is
Yeah.
that something? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. So you looked at the course and then you decided to hop on it. Is there or was there something on the course that you saw as a must-have when choosing the course?
Yeah.
The reason you decided for the PST instructor course?
Yeah. So I did and ah about it because it was a big investment, you know, and I wanted to make sure it's the right thing. And there was timing was part of it. So the timing over Christmas meant that it was this quieter period of the year for me from a business perspective. So it meant that I had the time to follow the training because the 10 and be available on each week on for 10 weeks. And also then have the time to um, create and submit the assessment videos
Mm.
in the freezing cold at times because it was during winter. Um, and then, but it was also about the style of the course. So the frequency of the sessions, the duration of the time that you and Sonia invested in those sessions. You know, and you know, I think it's a running joke that you allocate a time, and we try to stick to it. But you're so giving of your time, and as is Sonia, that you know we will continue to talk about the relevance of that particular week and talk about the challenges and things that are going on and the learning, that you really felt part of a lovely community during the course. And so, you know, I didn't expect that necessarily to be part of it, but that I anticipated that consistency and that ability to have you and Sonia available to ask questions on a Zoom was, I think, one of the turning points for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. It's quite a running joke because I think by now we have already adjusted the description of the course because we always tried 90 minutes. And it never happened. It always went like 2 hours, something like this,
Yeah,
because we didn't want to, yeah, to keep people from discussing and exchanging their point of views and their experiences. That's a really important part of the course, I think.
yeah, no, exactly. And one of the elements that I subsequently that you offered was the breakouts as well,
Mhm.
where I mean I met people from Canada, from Switzerland, you know, America and stuff, and yeah, it was really interesting to learn their experiences and learn from others. So as much as we gained a huge amount of insight and experience from you and Sonia, it was actually also that collaboration and learning from others that I really enjoyed, and it mirrors some of the other courses that I've done with other organizations, because that really, that hive mind makes you learn, but also makes you feel that it's not just you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. And isn't it amazing to see how different the problems are in different countries. So I come from a German perspective. For me, the biggest challenge is when I talk with clients that the dog is running after deer, for
Yeah,
example, or the occasional wild boar. But then you have people from Australia where everything wants to eat you or your dog, and everyone wants to sting and bite and
yeah,
stuff like that. So I remember when I posted a video on social media where we had logs, so wooden logs, and
yeah,
I used these logs to hide some treats on. And I filmed my dogs while they were climbing across the
right.
logs and climbing up and eating the treats. And then underneath this post, a lot of people from the US, from Australia were like, "Oh my God, this is so dangerous. My dog would be
Um,
bitten by a snake or by a spider, poisonous and everything like this." And I was like, "Okay, so I'm in boring old Europe, so we can climb on logs. It's okay." Yeah.
Oh, my dog's favorite game now is sausage tree. I mean,
Yeah.
and hunting all those things in the log. So because of that, and you wouldn't even think about it. And where we live is quite urban, so we don't really get the deer, but squirrels
Mm,
is a key one. And I think it's for a lot of in living in an urban area where you might have a hunting or working breed like spaniels, which still are popular.
yeah.
I think the environment there is a challenge because they don't understand how to meet their needs in an urban environment and how to use that. So, understanding that other people in other countries have similar or different, but I still learned things from them to add to my repertoire.
Exactly. Yeah. You learn so many things. That's true. And you learn also to find alternatives that you didn't need to think
Yeah,
think of in the first place. But it's so interesting because you can always use alternatives for different dogs and different environments. So
yeah,
really makes you think out of the box a little bit, I think. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So then you took the course, you did the certification,
Yeah,
and what are the results that you have achieved? So what impact did this course have on your work with clients, on your business?
yeah. So I think I can truly say that I apply the learnings that from the course in every single client. Because as you and I know, predation is part of every single dog's genetics. And I even use the example that the husky is the only one that has all elements. I say that regularly to clients, because they go, oh, wow, it just makes it interesting and stimulating from a conversation perspective. And for me, because living in a more urban environment, maybe there is that lack of understanding in the area, but of what their dog's challenges are. They just think, oh, my dog can't walk on the lead, oh, my dog's recall is not great, but they don't truly maybe they're not curious enough about why that might be and how the environmental challenges that they're in could be affecting, their dog. And so for me, even young dogs like puppies, I'm using the 10 treat game, I'm using bowling, in order to encourage dogs. I had a great example the other day, Simone, with a slightly older dog, and we were going to do a game where we drop treats and they sniff and they find it, which we use on the island walks. And the dog has been trained so well to use a release cue to get food that when we dropped the food, it wouldn't go there. Right? Just stood there, frozen. So thinking on my feet, I was like, okay, let's use bowling as an alternative to get it to move because it was anxious and barking at people when they come to the home. So even in a home environment, I'm using your training tool bowling in order to create action and motivation to get the dog away from the trigger in order to give them something positive to use. So
Mm,
there's so many examples that I now apply the learning, not necessarily to what I might have expected for it to be applying to, but because it affects every dog and applies to every dog, I can then apply that to everything. And it means that I have lots of fun ways of getting engagement from the dog and the owners, because them trying to throw a treat through a lasso and throwing it is much more fun for them as well as the dog.
mm, yeah, great. Wow. So, how or what would you say to somebody who is considering joining the PST instructor course?
So I think a lot of it would be around it's a great um, experience to add to your toolkit. Um, it does offer a different approach to traditional training methods. It involves a lot of play activity. It really harnesses the dog's needs. It builds a lovely bond with the dog and the client, and that you can truly see, the benefits of that. And I can personally talk about how the difference it's made with Poppy. Whereas I was always so reluctant to have her off a lead because of fear of safety and her inability to listen and respond. But because I now trust her, she trusts me. So that trust and how I enable clients to do that, I think really benefits every trainer, because that is what the bond should be. It's about the trust between the dog and the owner. So because she has her needs met, my dog Poppy, she doesn't run away in the same way that she used to. She comes back, not all the time, because no dog is ever perfect. But I think as a trainer, I see and recognize so many different things, like the environment, much more focused on the environment. I'm much better at trying to read what the client wants. I've got a better understanding of changing a situation and finding alternatives. And I just feel then that I offer a better service and support to my clients because I have that skill set.
Oh, wow, this is amazing. And I really, really love that you say that it also changed something for your own dogs, so
Yeah.
that even for your own dogs, you can learn something and take it away. And yeah, that's really wonderful. Wonderful to hear. Cool.
Yeah, no, and it really is genuine, because now I just love my walks, and I'm often doing videos of her and posting them on socials, because it really does make such a difference to
Mm.
have that connection, and and just to see how much fun she has now. Like I never have my camera when she does it perfectly, in the sense that we come to a specific spot, she knows there's squirrels there, so we preempt it, we kind of start playing the hunting game, and then like she comes back, and some days it's once, twice, three times, and then she gets to run, and then we do sausage tree, and that whole process where she fulfills her needs, and she just comes back going, oh, that was just brilliant. I'm just the
Ah,
loon running, shouting in the park, sausage, sausage, because I haven't come up with a greater cue than yours. But
wonderful.
that just now stops her from running around chasing something that's not there. But she now comes and chases the sausages up the tree. So, but yeah, so I love it. And people, yeah, I don't care what people think, but I just love it.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it's supposed to be. So when you're not the lunatic in the park, then you're doing something wrong
Yeah.
with your dogs. So
100%.
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say to anybody, if you're thinking about it, it's definitely worth the investment, because it is a very intense, in-depth course. You get to learn an awful lot about, more than you might expect. You have a great connection of people, and I think the other thing I would say, Simone, is that there's the support during the course on the Facebook group was really great. So when
Mm.
we might be having some, a go at with clients or with your own dog with some of the challenges and skills, you were there, and others were there to support and offer advice and guidance and give feedback. So it felt very current in that situation.
Yeah, this is something that I wish for when I do a course, that I can circle back and ask the community and get some support, because to be honest, most of the challenges when you are a dog trainer, they only come after you have finished your courses and your classes and you're doing real work out there, and when you have nothing or nobody to turn to and then ask for support, I think this is not a good situation. So I wanted to do
So
this differently.
yeah, totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So, Sarah, how can people find you to work with you? Because I know you have got a very new business scheme that you have developed that I haven't known before, and it sounds super interesting. So, would you like to talk a little bit about what you offer at Berkshire Dog Training?
Yeah. Based in the county of Berkshire, and I cover Oxfordshire and North Hampshire. So sort of just west of London is the best way of describing me from a location. Created the name, obviously play on words with the county, but spelt Berk.
Yeah.
And the crest that I have is actually linked to the county crest, which is a stag with a tree over. So I created that with a dog with a tree over. I'm really connected to the county,
Oh,
an area that I work in. But I have gone slightly further afield through people finding me on your website as a trained
mhm.
instructor. My experience is I offer 3 or 6 month programs, and predation training is always recommended at 3 months because you need that duration of time to build and change those behaviours that are existing. And I combine that with a number of face-to-face individual one-to-one sessions. Plus, I bring in group elements. So where dogs have similar challenges, we then go to maybe a meadow, to work on certain things, and we do similar things, but then we'll break out individually. So we work on specific elements of the programs that we're doing in one-to-ones. So we're then strengthening those skills with working in different environments, which, as we know, obviously enhances the skills for the owner and the dogs to learn from. And I love what I do. I know that when I talk about predation, I light up opportunities to work in predation and support people. Is something I would love to do more and more of. And it's just trying to help other people understand the benefits, and hopefully the more people get to hear about it and support it, the more it becomes more of a recognised and supportive way to support dog owners with challenges.
Yeah, and I think this sounds like a really sustainable way to work with dogs and clients. So that it's not just you have 2 or 3 sessions and then that's it. So yeah, this sounds like a really good plan. Well thought
Thank you.
through. Yeah.
Well, it seems to be, touch wood, it's working so far. So
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Sarah, thank you very, very much for sharing your journey and your experiences. And it's been such a pleasure hearing how you have brought the PST approach into your work and your life as a trainer and also into your relationship with your dogs. Yeah, and thank you everyone for watching. If you would like to learn more about Sarah and her work and how to get in touch with Berkshire Dog Training, I have linked everything in the notes. And if you would like to know more about the PST course, the PST Instructor Course, I have also put the link to the non-binding waitlist into the notes too. Sarah, please give Poppy and Manu a big cuddle from me, and thank you very much for being here.
I will do, because of course you met Poppy on the course I did with you in person. So yeah, so thank you very
Yeah.
much indeed.